Have you ever looked up at the sky and just seen, well, sky? A big, blue, empty space. Well, what if I told you it's not empty at all, not even close? Today, we're going to peel back that blue curtain and reveal a hidden world. A totally invisible highway system that keeps everything from tiny drones to massive jumbo jets perfectly organized.
Think about it for a second. It's a really important question. With thousands and thousands of planes in the air at any given moment, how do we prevent total, absolute chaos? What are the invisible rules of the road up there?
Well, the answer is kinda simple, but also incredibly cool and complex. The sky is literally mapped out in 3 dimensions, with invisible walls, floors, and ceilings that every single pilot has to know how to navigate. And today, I'm going to show you how to see it too.
Okay, let's dive right in. So, the main reason for this whole system, what the FAA calls the National Airspace System, is pretty straightforward. It's to stop planes from bumping into each other and to organize the constant flow of air traffic. It's really all about making sure everyone has their own space to fly safely.
The best way to think about it is like a giant symphony orchestra, right? If every pilot just did their own thing, it would be a complete disaster. But with this system, every aircraft is like a musician playing from the exact same sheet music, and that creates this perfectly coordinated and, most importantly, safe performance in the sky. So, how does the FAA organize this massive sky map? They use what we call an alphabet soup of different airspace classes. And here's a fun way to think about it. It's like a video game. We're going to start on the ground at level 1 and work our way up through each zone all the way to the top.
All right, level 1 is Class G airspace. Just think, G is for go for it. This is kind of like the Wild West of the sky, usually pretty close to the ground out in rural areas. It's uncontrolled, which means air traffic control isn't actively managing you. But don't be fooled. There are still rules you got to follow, like having enough visibility and staying clear of clouds.
Okay, so we're leaving that open field, and we are leveling up. As we start to climb higher, we enter what's called controlled airspace. And this is where air traffic control begins to play a much, much bigger role. And yeah, the rules start getting a lot stricter.
So welcome to Class E. I like to call this one everything else. Why? Because it's this huge foundational layer of controlled airspace that covers most of the country. It starts right above Class G and stretches way, way up to where the big airliners fly. It's kind of like the connective tissue holding our entire invisible map together.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. As we get closer to airports, the map gets way more detailed, the invisible walls become more complex, and the rules, they get much, much stricter to handle all that concentrated traffic.
Okay, let's start with the smaller airports. The key to getting into our next level, Class D, is just one simple word: dialogue. So, Class D airspace is basically a cylinder sitting right on top of an airport that has a control tower. And here's the deal. You can't just wander into it. You have to call up the tower on the radio and start a two-way conversation. You need that dialogue to get permission to come inside. Okay, pop quiz time. Let's see if you're getting this. You're flying a drone, say 300 feet up, over a big open field, miles and miles from any airport. What airspace is that? Is it A, D, or G? If you said C, Class G, the go-for-it zone, you absolutely nailed it. Nice job. Let's keep climbing. All right, our next level up surrounds those busier regional airports. This is Class C, and an easy way to remember it is that C stands for congested. This airspace looks kind of like a 2-layer upside-down cake. It's bigger and more complex than Class D because, well, the traffic is a lot heavier. To get in, you still need that two-way dialogue, but now your aircraft also needs a special piece of gear called a transponder. It's this little device that automatically broadcasts your plane's altitude, so air traffic control can see exactly where you are in 3D space. Pretty cool, huh?
All right, you ready? We've made it to the final boss level of airport airspace. This is Class B, and the B is for the biggest, busiest airports in the whole country. We're talking places like Atlanta, LAX, or Chicago O'Hare.
Class B is basically an exclusive VIP club. You can't just talk your way in. No, you need an explicit clearance from air traffic control. It's like a super strict bouncer at a club. The controller has to say the magic words, "You are cleared into the Class Bravo airspace." It's the ultimate permission slip, and it's how they keep things extremely safe in those super busy skies.
And the shape? It's even more complex. Imagine a massive upside-down wedding cake with a bunch of different tiers, reaching all the way up to 10,000 feet.
Each one of those layers is designed specifically to protect aircraft on their way in and on their way out, making sure everybody stays safely separated. And finally, let's go way, way up. High above everything else we've talked about is Class A airspace. The A is for airliner territory. This is the superhighway in the sky, starting at 18,000 feet and going all the way up. Up here, everyone's a pro, flying on a specific instrument flight plan, and they're all being guided by air traffic control.
So what happens if a pilot messes up and flies through one of these invisible walls without permission? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. The FAA's approach is really less about punishment and way more about education.
Look, for an honest, unintentional mistake, the goal isn't to get a pilot in trouble. The FAA's policy is to use it as a teaching moment. They'll probably issue what's called a compliance action, which is basically just a conversation to figure out what went wrong and make sure the pilot understands the rules for next time. It's all about making the whole system safer for everybody.
And the amazing thing is, you don't even have to be a pilot to start exploring this secret map. There are some incredible tools out there right now that let you see and interact with these invisible walls all by yourself. You could explore this map in a couple of really cool ways. First, there are flight simulators, like the SIA Sim, which are actually used in schools to let students practice flying through these zones. It's super engaging and very hands-on. And second, you can look at the real-world maps pilots use. They're called aeronautical charts, and they show you exactly where every single invisible boundary actually is.
Honestly, using a simulator is where it all just clicks. All of a sudden, a complex idea like that upside-down wedding cake of airspace isn't just a metaphor anymore. You can actually see it, you can fly around it, and you really get why it's shaped that way. It just makes learning all this stuff so much more fun and effective.
So the sky isn't empty. It is filled with this beautiful, complex, and totally invisible structure that keeps us all safe. And now you know the secret. So here's a little challenge for you. Go to skyvector.com, type in your address, and see the secret map of the sky right above your own house. Go on, go explore it.